We're about to take a journey cross country to Willows, California, where John will be doing a 25-hour endurance race at 25 hours of Thunder Hill. Some of the sights we will see along the way will be the Grand Canyon, Carlsbad Caverns. I will be making a trip to Sacramento Wildlife Refuge, and I hope you enjoy this video. So sit back, relax, and take a journey with us. We started our journey at night heading towards West Virginia. We eventually got down the following day to Oz and spent a few days there. Our site number was 114, and here we are at our site. This was a very nice campground. They had a pool, hot tub. The night we got there, they were having a pajama party in the bar area. And we also walked across to the tent area to take a shower in the outdoor showers, but they were disconnected. And we also took a nice little walk on many of their trails. It was a great time there, and we hope to get back in the near future. It was now time to leave Oz Campground, and it was my day to drive, so I get to do the driving. And we headed towards New Orleans. Now, the funny part is John is doing video here because I said, you should get the camera out and take pictures of the cotton fields as we go by. And he got the camera out, and we never saw another cotton field through the whole state of Georgia. Well, that's not 100% true. We did see more cotton fields. We just didn't see them with any cotton. They had already been harvested. As the sign says, welcome to Louisiana. We are now headed to New Orleans, and we are going to be crossing Lake Pontchartrain right here. Now, I did speed this up as not to drag out the drive across the bridge, so I don't want you people thinking I drive that fast on the motorhome. We're still crossing Lake Pontchartrain. This is a very large lake and a very long bridge. So just be glad that I did speed this up, because otherwise we'd still be back in the first mile probably. But we eventually get off of this bridge and we head into the French Quarters, where we will be staying for the night. Arriving at the French Quarter RV Resort, our site was number 40. This is a great RV park down by the French Quarters, and there's a bike path right outside the main gate, and we did take a little bit of opportunity to get to ride some of that. We were joined by our friends Edmund and Philip for dinner the nights we were there, plus Philip joined us for a bike ride one day as we rode to find some lunch. The hot tub was great, but I can honestly say I was not in the pool. John was, but not me. We're out for a little ride in New Orleans. We're headed to City Park to just ride around and check a few things out. Here we made the decision to head to Edmund and Philip's house for a little water and everything before we head back. So this is our slight detour. Now we're hopping on the bike trail that will take us back to the French Quarters RV Resort, and then we will eventually all get ready and head out for dinner. It's time now to leave the French Quarter RV Resort, and we will be heading towards Dallas, Texas, where we will be meeting up with one of John's friends, and we will be staying at Cedar Hill State Park Campground. There's the mighty Mississippi. That's Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're now passing a large field of sugarcane. There were quite a few sugarcane fields in the state of Texas as we crossed. All the different highways and ramps always amazes me as we're starting to head towards Dallas, Texas, where we will be spending 2 nights at Cedar Hill State Park Campground. We're arriving at Cedar Hill State Park in Dallas, Texas. And this was a beautiful place. Nice lake, lots of bike trails to ride on. We are in Site 316, which is outlined in the green. And here is our site. It's a beautiful site. I do recommend this site, or actually across from us is 315, which had a beautiful view of the lake from your site. Either one of those sites would be great. The bathhouse was just up the road a little, so it was no big problem. And we had a great stay there. We did take a hike, and John did go for a bike ride, although we are going to walk on the bike path that he rode on and show you that it was not for me. Heading back up to our site because we are getting ready for dinner. We have the oven preheating, and John is preheating the grill so we can have some hamburgers and fries for our meal. And here's our little picnic area outside of our site, and it was a very nice, quiet, peaceful place to be. We're off for a walk. John is going to take us to the bike trail that he rode, but we have a bit of a walk to get there, and I'm going to save you some punishment and not record it all. So here's the bike trail that he did. If you go to the right, you can hike it. If you go to the left, you can bike it. But they want walkers coming towards bikers, and this is one spot where it actually said helmets required. And after walking on this trail for a while, I can definitely see why they might say that. A lot of branches, the actual bridges that you cross, some of them had little jumps to them. It was quite an interesting ride. John did it. He did the smallest and the easy route. Here comes a bicyclist. And I didn't bother doing it because he just said, yeah, it would not be for me to do. So we walked it, and I got to see it that way, and it was enjoyable because, as you can see, you're going to come out alongside the lake for a little bit and have some nice views and everything. So if not riding it, I definitely recommend it as a walk. You have this great view of the lake as you're going by. Of course, riding a bicycle, you wouldn't be able to take in the view because you'd be so busy looking at the path ahead. And actually, you'd be coming the other way, but we're going backwards because we're walking. So you would be coming down this pathway here back to that bridge. There are three trails. There is a 3 mile trail, which is the trail we are walking. There is an 8 mile trail, and then there's a 12 mile trail that you can ride your bike on. I'll just stick with the walking of the 3 mile trail. Well, it was time to leave Dallas, and we're back on the road, and welcome to New Mexico. We have moved another state west, and I'm going to just show you the road we were on. This is what we were driving, a straight road. Every now and then there would be a little bend in it, and I believe that's where the guys celebrated because they got so much done. Then they did it crooked and sobered up the next day and went back to straight road. So it was a sort of monotonous ride through the desert. Sunreef Campground is where we spend our Thanksgiving, and we had a nice little Thanksgiving dinner while we were there. Happy Thanksgiving all. Sunset Reef Campground was out in the desert. It was just a little ways down the road from Carlsbad Caverns, where we were going the next day. It's a first come, first serve campground. There is no reservations. There are 5 RV sites and there are 6 tent sites. Now there was enough room that since the sites were taken, we were able to park along the fence. There was another RV in front of us when we got there, and we just stayed there. It's a campground. You can run your generator because there is no electric, there's no water, there's nothing, so you're boondocking for the night. But it was just down the road from the Grand Canyon, and as you can see, right out there is the highway, so it really wasn't a bad get to, although it is a dirt road to get here. And it was a nice night. It was peaceful, nice and dark. We were able to take some great pictures of the stars, and we'll be showing you a few of them. Right up there on the top of the hill, that is the visitor center for Carlsbad Caverns, and there's even a better close-up of it. And that was where we sat for the night, right there, which was a beautiful spot. And here we have some shots of the stars that John did, and I believe to do this he even climbed on top of the RV to do it. We're now heading out the road to head towards Carlsbad Caverns. And here you can see the campground where we stayed at Sunreef Campground from Carlsbad Cavern. This is the amphitheater to watch the bats come out at sunset. And we are now starting down the long, long path into Carlsbad Caverns. The tour can take you at least 2 hours, can even go 3 to 4 depending on how much stopping you do and how much walking. We did find out when we came out that they had a self-guided audio tour, which nobody said anything about, or we would have probably tried to do that because due to COVID, they were not giving any ranger tours. So you walked it yourself. As you can see, we have a ways to go yet. And it's a nice leisure walk. The nice thing is you don't come back out this way. You actually go up through an elevator from the cafeteria area at the end of the tour. We're going to do a little magic, and with a snap of our fingers, we're going to get down closer to the bottom. We're getting closer, and I think that must be a picture that most people take. We're just going to show you some pictures of from inside the cave. It's really a stunning place. Anybody want some bacon with their eggs this morning? Pictures don't do its justice. It's something I think everyone should really get to see at some point. It's a fantastic walk. It's a great cave. I've never seen the bats fly out of it yet, but truthfully that wouldn't be a bad thing to do sometime either. I found this lonely cave dweller down there, so I brought him up to the top with me. We're now starting our ride back down to the main highway, which is, I believe, a 7-mile ride just to get to the main highway on this road, and just showing you what this road looks like. It winds its way through the mountains to get up to Carlsbad Caverns. Sit back and relax and let the driving up to John as he takes us back down from Carlsbad Caverns. Here we have a blade coming from a wind turbine. We've passed quite a few of these on the road, and in Bakersfield, California, or nearing Bakersfield I should say, there was a Winfield farm that you could see from miles, the blinking red lights on top. Last night we pulled into Painted Cliffs Rest Area in Arizona. It is their welcome center. And unfortunately, the sun is shining, so you can't see them over there. But it was absolutely beautiful this morning when I looked out. And to see these nice cliffs was great. It was a nice free night of boondocking. Unfortunately, the rest area itself, the buildings are closed. As we found in Arizona and New Mexico, a lot of the buildings are closed. In fact, one of them we stayed at in New Mexico, you couldn't go in the building, but you could at least park on the parking lot, and that's where we had our leftover Thanksgiving dinner. But anyway, we are in Arizona now, and I'm doing a nice little walk of the parking area. And it's gorgeous. There, of course, there's train tracks on the other side of the road, so all night long we heard train whistles, which really is no different than sitting at our house. We hear them then, too. Our original plan for the evening was actually to stay in New Mexico on some BLM land, and there were no reservations there either, and you would have to go find a spot. And since it was already getting dark while we were driving, we decided that it might be better if we just head for a rest area or a truck stop and boondock there. So we found this in Arizona, and that made us our next stop. So it got us ahead in our driving a little more than we were supposed to be. So the next day we actually got to go through the petrified forest because of this advance in time, because we were headed to Williams, Arizona to meet with our friend Frank and then do the Grand Canyon. Of course, there we are, and with being in that site, we were able to put out the bedroom slide so we could move around in the bedroom a little easier than if it's in. I mean, we can boondock with all slides in without a problem, but this made it a little easier. Now, the only thing I didn't care about this rest area was seeing this sign. Since we were running ahead of schedule, we decided to take a tour and do the Painted Desert. Beautiful place. I mean, it's like a 28-mile drive. It's not out of the way because you can take it either going 40 west or 40 east and get to it. And there are quite a few spots to pull over. Now, I don't think it's necessary to pull over at every spot that you stop at, because sometimes it's seeing the same thing just from a different angle. But there are definitely a few spots you want to pull over. And you'll see quite a few pictures that we have taken. And like I said, it was a joy. It was on our way to Williams, Arizona, to the Grand Canyon Railway. And it was a beautiful day, so we really enjoyed doing it. And here we are where Route 66 used to come across. As you can see, they have tribute to it. And we did a little selfie with all the telegraph poles that used to be along the road when it was Route 66. And I guess somebody left their old car here, I don't know. But and we have some very friendly ravens. Here we see John trying to get a picture of the raven. And of course he was very cooperative, and there's the picture John took. And just down the road a little were some petroglyphs on some rocks that we stopped to see. And we have the water under the bridge, which is a petrified log. And the next couple pictures are in what they call Crystal Forest, which was a nice little walk you could walk around, and some very colorful petrified trees. I actually didn't see the Crystal Forest till the next day when Frank and I went back, because here is where our vacation got very interesting. On the map, you'll see the green arrow, which is where we went in. The red arrow is where the RV broke down, and the black arrow is where we spent the night. After sitting along the road for a while, some people finally showed up. First, some park employees telling John we cannot park where we are because we're not off the road. We have to get off the road. And John explains to them that he would love to, but the serpentine belt broke and we cannot go anywhere. And then finally a park ranger showed up, and we were all discussing what we were trying to do when this guy in this pickup stopped and said, "Do we need a tow?" And of course we looked at him like, yeah, but we have a 24,000 pound RV. Is that truck going to be able to pull it? And he said, yeah. And we hooked up and off we went. Now, I sped the video up because it is a 6-mile ride, but I want you all to enjoy the ride that we got. So while you're enjoying this quick ride for the last 6 miles of the petrified forest, I'll fill you in on a little more. He towed us to the end of the park, and outside there were 2 gift shops, and both of them allowed RV parking overnight. So we parked there overnight, and a guy showed up that evening to see if he could redo the belt. And when he crawled under to check it out, he checked some other things and said he has some bad news for us, that the air conditioner compressor seized and putting another belt isn't going to help. So he said he could come back in the morning and he would be able to tow us to Holbrook, Arizona, which is about 15 miles down the road, to a garage there, which we knew absolutely nothing about, but we really didn't have a lot of choice in that part. Cell phone coverage in that area was really bad. While we were in the park, I did call an emergency number, got the sheriff's office. They gave us a bunch of phone numbers of trying to get people to tow us, and they either weren't in business anymore, they retired, they don't have the equipment to tow our RV, or whatever. It's really funny to find that both times we were flat towed, it was by pickup trucks. And we were towed the next day to a place called Ash Auto Safety House, which, if ever in that area or in Vegas, they're also there, and you need work on anything diesel. They do diesel trucks, buses. They were great. They really tried to get a compressor and get it repaired so that we could take the RV on Tuesday and head to California. Unfortunately, they weren't able to find a compressor, and they had to order one, and it wasn't going to get there till Wednesday, and that was too late for us to stay around. So since Frank was meeting us at the Grand Canyon, we called him, and instead of him going to the Grand Canyon, he came to Holbrook, and he took John to get a rental car, and we decided we'd just drive the rental car and leave the RV there till we get back, since we had to come back this way anyway. This car going the other way was the park people who stopped and told us to get off the road, but they went down to the gate where we're headed and informed them that we were coming and that we would not be stopping, because they actually had you stop at the gate. I don't know if they were weighing your car, that they secretly weighed it at both spots so you're not taking any of the petrified rocks with you, or what. Because when Frank and I went the next day, we pulled up to it, they looked at us and go ahead. They didn't have us open trunk or anything. And it's like, okay, how do you know we don't have anything? So I'm wondering if they actually have a scale embedded in the road and they can weigh the vehicle from the time it gets there to the time it goes out. So the guy who pulled us, I believe his name was Jim, stopped up here to ask whether we wanted to go on the right or the left. We decided to go on the right. Of course, I found out the next day that on the left it says free RV parking and supposedly you have electric, where on the right it was $16 a night. But either way, once he got us in the lot, we could start the engine, we could back into our spot, and we sat there till the next day. Here is the spot we sat at. If you see the black on the by the stairs is the belt, which I am holding there. Here is a car that tried to take, I guess, too much petrified wood. And here we are sitting at Ash with our rental car and the RV, where we were emptying everything out of the RV and putting it into the car. And we are now on our road, and we're actually in California by now. We're on Interstate 5. And we're headed to Willows, California for the Thunderhill race. Going up along Interstate 5, we passed a lot of orchards. We did pass the Hales citrus factory, but a lot of trees and stuff that we're not sure. We also know it's a nut area for pecans, walnuts, almonds, and all that kind of stuff. So what all the fruits and vegetables that are be growing there, we really don't know. Unfortunately, there was nothing on the trees that we could tell. So here we are at the racetrack, and they have the car lined up for the actual race. There will be 3 parts to this video: the trip out, the race at Thunderhill Raceway, and then of course the trip back. If you like this video, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you'll be warned whenever other ones are out.